Welcome to this They Cloned Tyrone Ending Explained. This was a total fun movie, and the conspiracy was not only gripping, and while it did feel a bit of a tad letdown in the middle of the movie, I thought that the metaphors were done very, very good, and if a little bit on the nose, they were still a really, really good movie. We follow Fontaine, Slick, and Yo-Yo, a drug dealer, a pimp, and a SEX worker. Fontaine, played by John Boyega, lives the same day in and out and is trying to protect his drug dealing turf from Isaac, but his life is changed when he finally catches up with Slick, who owed him some cash, as well as Yo-Yo. This trio are endlessly entertaining, and each actor and actress are absolutely superb. The script is sharp and fun, and it had me in bits at times. And I really am glad that John Boyega is really making some solid movies post Star Wars, because they did Finn very dirty. Fontaine ends up being killed, but we do see him return to his daily routine of driving to the shop, getting a 40 and a scratcher, and going about his day. One problem: he doesn't remember anything from the day before, except Yo-Yo and Slick do. It turns out that their neighborhood is a whole experiment in mind control to try and keep the United States united, except, as we would later find out, all of these experiments are in black neighborhoods. Underground, the residents are cloned and experimented on, and we see how trios start to learn this as they find the clone of Fontaine in a trap house, aka a drugs den. Fontaine doesn't realise he is indeed a clone, but he thinks they're cloning him. He thinks he's Fontaine Prime, but no, he isn't. The chicken, grape, drink, music, etc. are all used to control people in the area, and people down below are working on this to try and control them as they try and push this forward. Clearly a reference to how food and music warps people's minds, keeps them passive as they have kind of like processed food, and the music and the lyrics try and turn people violent or that kind of thing. I can't explain it very well, but I think you get what I mean. It keeps them passive, infighting, or is thought to. I also thought of the conspiracy that crack was to be introduced to black neighborhoods by the government to try and keep them down and infighting. And also I believe that the music and gang violence is a reference to that exact real world where violent neighborhoods kind of prevent a community spirit, and people of colour are kind of pitted against each other somewhat, which, for all intents and purposes, I am white, so that is a disclaimer there that I don't know exactly what goes on, but that is what I'm inferring from this movie. However, there is a larger plan, and this involves an OG Fontaine. I love how this reminded me of Stranger Things, with the labs below the city, and even kind of gave me Fallout vibes at times. I was happy to see Kiefer Sutherland, who explains what the heck is going on. He plays the role of someone called Nixon, which doubles down this narrative here of synthetic drugs and mind-controlled media in real life, as Nixon infamously started the war on drugs, which absolutely failed spectacularly and did disproportionately negatively affect people of colour in the United States of America. It turns out the three are kept the way they are as they keep the city leading to no gentrification. You have pimps, you have sex work, and you have drug dealers. The government wants to make sure there is an eternal peace by subjugating and mind-controlling people, avoiding the polarization of people's views and behaviours. Think the BLM movement and the GOP movement, that big gulf there that happened in 2020. Fontaine is offered a chance to live life as a clone, just live day in and day out. He takes it up. However, eventually he does join back up with the others, and they eventually manage to get into the depths as they find the leader of the experiments. He's someone who has decided to work with the government. Yep, it is the original Fontaine. He wants everyone to be the same, and says control is only a step, and ultimately everyone has to be a clone of each other. But when you think about it, if you do that, what's the point of living? You end up like the Borg from Star Trek. It worked with the chicken shop manager-ish, and the white guy with the afro kind of shows up as well underground, the first people they see. He says assimilation is better than annihilation, which is a dark way of saying eugenics and breeding out black people, which some absolute horrible racist people think would save the United States. It speaks to the kind of past of racial eugenics, but thankfully he's shot before he can continue this. The on-the-nose metaphors for how the black community is socially and economically deliberately put down I think it still works. Sometimes the message can be very on the nose, but still it has to be at times. Like with Don't Look Up, people said it's too on the nose, but come on. Just look what's going on in Southern Europe. I can't go into depth too much because I'm not a scholar, I just break down movies, but the scheme was nationwide and we see the Glens saved, but at the end, the titular Tyrone, we see him, and he is a clone in LA, hinting that a rise up will happen there too. So overall, an absolutely solid movie, one of my favourite movies of the year by a long way, but that's it. Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.